Hello, you lovely, lovely people. That's right, it's me, it's your favourite host of the wall, the one and only head Anthony Walker at your service, ladies and gentlemen, for the 49th episode of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Yes, you heard me correct, 49th episode. I am one episode away from 50, and the 50th episode takes place next week. Hopefully I will have a surprise for you for that. But moving on, that's then, this is now. On today's show, on today's podcast, show, whatever you want to call it, I will talk wrestling, as I always do. I will talk WWE, TNA, ICW, and anything else that's relevant in the world of professional wrestling. Now, normally I was going to talk Ring of Honor, but when I went to watch the show this week, it was a preview of the 13th anniversary episode of the 13th anniversary show, which took place March 1st. So I thought, I'll leave it for this week, and hopefully next week normal service will be resumed. I mean, you don't want me to discuss a show that is basically a preview of a pay-per-view, because it's basically saying a build-up show to the 13th anniversary show, which is whatever. Nobody wants to hear that. So normal service on Ring of Honor will be resumed hopefully next week. However, just because I'm not going to talk Ring of Honor this week, unfortunately. I am going to talk, like I said, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, and ICW. I forgot NXT in the first time I said that, but I'm going to add it. Yes, NXT. Also, guys, ProWare. Now, you've heard me talk about these guys. I think it's PureWare. Hang on, bear with me. You've heard me talk about these guys on previous podcasts. Bear with me. Bear with moi. Okay, I'm on my laptop, ladies and gentlemen, as you can probably see. Probably tell, rather. You can't see because I'm on the podcast. Right, PURO, where? At PUROWEAR on Twitter. Check them out, ladies and gentlemen. Their online store is now open. Easy shopping, faster shipping, and more gear. Ask how to save 20%. The website is PUROWEAR.bigcartel.com. Okay, the link will be in the description. I'll leave links in the description on YouTube and Podomatic and Mixcloud and whatever the fuck. I'll leave it in there and you can check it out. Be sure to check this site out and this Twitter out as well. They messaged me on Twitter. They told me about their new online store. I mentioned it on my I said I mentioned it on the podcast. So here you are, guys. It's not a problem. You're very welcome for the plug. Hope it was good enough. I can't pronounce your thing, which is so retarded of me. But anyway, I got you guys over. So guys, make sure you check them out. Give them a good look. Some gear on there. I haven't checked the site out, so I'll probably check it out during the interval and see where it goes, and I'll give you a little plug at the end of the show during the news and opinions in the world of professional wrestling. But until then, go and check it out. I'll probably talk more about it later on. Right, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, it is now time for the Raw main points. I will kick it off with the Raw main points. Now, Raw kicked off this week with Roman Reigns being confronting Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins opened Raw in a positive zen mood, having successfully goaded Jon Stewart to trek across the bridge and make an appearance on Raw. Roman Reigns ain't one to let his enemies relax for long. The number one contender to Brock Lesnar's heavyweight championship of the world put a swift end to Rollins' showboating, and though Reigns crashed Mr. Money in the Bank's opening segment, sucking him in the mouth and obtaining J&J security with Superman punch to Jamie Noble and the Spirit to Joey Mercury, let's just say if Stewart throws his right hand half as good as Roman Reigns does, Rollins is in deep trouble. The impetus for Truth's second consecutive theft was Barrett shoving the former United States champion at ringside. Luke Harper quickly one-upped Truth, though, materializing at ringside and wordlessly demanding the title from Truth right as Barrett and Ambrose lined up for the Barrett had Ambrose lined up for the bullhammer elbow before calmly strolling away with the prize. The latest theft for the title threw Barrett off the frenzy, and Dean Ambrose picked up the pieces by hitting Mr. Barrett with dirty deeds, and the game of keep away continues. Because I think at some point as Harper walked back up, he had the Intercontinental Championship in hand as he walked away. Like I say, the game of one-upmanship continues. Bray Wyatt addresses The Undertaker. For weeks, Bray Wyatt has sent dispatches to The Undertaker in an attempt to summon him to WrestleMania. The Eater of Worlds' latest address consists of a massive wooden casket and burning it to the ground. Will The Undertaker show up? As Triple H's historic WrestleMania confrontation with Sting draws closer, it appears the game won't tolerate anyone skeptical of his ability to defeat the Vigilante on the grandest stage of them all. First, the King of Kings laid his hands on Ric Flair, and the next target of his zero-tolerance policy turned out to be Booker T, who criticized the zero and lukewarm assessment of his chances against Sting, earned him an on-the-spot firing. Of course, the dismissal turned into be more than a fierce design to display Triple H's power, basically using him to make a statement, and Booker was allowed to return to commentary, table in one piece. The message was clear: don't cross the balls. Jon Stewart showed up, ran his mouth, and almost got himself into trouble with Mr. Rollins. And Rollins didn't take too kindly to it, grabbing a hold of Jon Stewart, about to hit him until Randy Orton's music came on. Randy Orton walks down the ring. J&J Security are ready to attack Orton at some point, but as that was happening, J&J Security's backs were turned, and Jon Stewart proceeded to kick Rollins full on in the Rollins, if you will. Kicked him between the legs. I guess Jon Stewart unfortunately won that feud. And in the main event, Seth Rollins went 1-on-1 with Roman Reigns. First up, Paul Heyman in an epic fashion said Roman Reigns had no chance of beating the World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania. The Big Dog took a step toward proving that wrong in Raw's main event by taking Seth Rollins, one who has been in the ring with Lesnar, to the limit. Reigns had early advantage by targeting Rollins' groin. Yes, Kane and Big Show both felt Reigns' wrath at ringside, as well as J&J Security. Rough night for those guys. And yes, Randy Orton's arrival, but not in Rollins' corner. After a backstage verbal scuffle with the Authority, threw Mr. Money in the Bank off his game, but that same Viper snatched the victory from Reigns all the same. A big back body drop off the top rope from Reigns led to a one-arm sit-down powerbomb and the Superman punch that followed up by a spear. Orton timely tripped up, though, allowed Rollins to claim a win by roll-up. Furious Reigns didn't let the loss sink in for long, taking out the entire Authority and, by the way, sending a message to Brock Lesnar. As Rollins jumped off the top rope, he basically speared him in half. Is Roman Reigns ready for Brock Lesnar? I think so. All this talk about this match being probably the worst match in WrestleMania history. After what I saw, I'm a little convinced that this might be an epic match. One way or another, we'll find out March 29th. And with that being said, that is the end of the Raw main points. And from what I saw on Raw this week, I will give Raw a 7. I've seen better Raws, but Raw was okay. But I still stand by what I said. It needs to be 2 hours. Speaking of 2 hours, I will be back after this quick commercial right here, or this quick break, or back after this, whatever it is it's going to be, and I'll be giving you the SmackDown main points, so stay tuned. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast Facebook fan page at www.facebook.com/WM podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Be sure to listen to the Wrestling Matters podcast each and every Monday, only on Mixcloud, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, Podomatic, and SoundCloud. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. We talk about Monday Night Raw, we shoot the breeze, we pipe bomb, and we tell it like it is. Tune in each and every Monday for the Wrestling Matters podcast, where wrestling matters. Well, welcome back to the Wrestling Matters podcast, ladies and gentlemen, and without further ado, we'll get right into it. We'll get into the SmackDown main points. Just 24 days before the highly anticipated Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania 31, Bad News Barrett's coveted title continues to be passed around the locker room like a hot potato. Case in point, SmackDown opened with Dolph Ziggler wearing it around his waist. The show-off wasted no time officially announcing his participation in the ladder match at WrestleMania, but just when it looked like he was going to call Daniel Bryan out to join him in the ring, Bad News Barrett interrupted and demanded his title back. Soon Luke Harper and Dean Ambrose joined the fray, and things quickly turned violent as the four competitors battled with each other, though R-Truth snuck in and stole the title once again. But would he choose to hang on to it this time? Ryback defeated Kane. Set to compete in the second annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal at WrestleMania, Ryback emerged to take on newly named Battle Royal adversaries Kane. As the newly named participant, Big Show lurked at ringside when the world's largest athlete climbed up on the apron. However, his disruption allowed the big guy to triumph over the culprit Kane. In a spontaneous match made by Director of Operations, though, Kane took on Kane's partner lurking at ringside. Big Show took advantage of some interference from the culprit demon to overcome Ryback with a knockout punch. 3 days after Miz's humiliating Niagara commercial left him completely embarrassed on Raw, a dispute between the Awesome One and his personal assistant Damien Mizdow gave a war-torn Kofi Kingston time to tag in Biggie Langston into the contest. Seconds later, the New Day combined allowed Biggie to pick up the tag team victory. No doubt we'd be seeing them in the Battle Royal. Prior to the SmackDown tag team main event, R-Truth emerged with the Intercontinental Championship still in his possession and joined the announce team at ringside. When the bell sounded, though, the action was far from over. Looking to finally take back his stolen Intercontinental Championship, Bad News Barrett attacked Dean Ambrose and Ziggler before turning his attentions to Truth at ringside. Before Barrett could reclaim his property, however, Ambrose leaped through the ropes and took him down. Luke Harper then tried to take the title from Truth, but the rapping superstar tricked his adversary with a hit and run. At that point, Daniel Bryan emerged and Truth handed his title over to the WWE's Yes Man. But just when Bryan began to lead the WWE Universe in a Yes chant, Stardust attacked him from out of nowhere and took possession of the prize. Could this mean the painted superstar will also compete in the championship match at WrestleMania? I guess we'll have to find out, won't we? And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the SmackDown main points. I'll be back after this with WWE NXT, so stay tuned.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shuggs.
Yes! Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Wrestling Matters podcast, and now it's time for the NXT breakdown. Now, NXT kicked off this week with Tyler Breeze going one-on-one with Adam Rose. Rose looked to be on the roll, but Prince Pretty clobbered him with a beauty shot out of nowhere to claim victory. Instead of celebrating his win, Breeze used a selfie stick to keep the Rosebuds at bay as he left the ring. To be honest, Adam Rose deserves to be on NXT. That's where he should be from now, because he's not getting anywhere on Raw, he's not getting anywhere on SmackDown. So if anybody's listening, put him back on NXT. I was a little surprised in this match that I wasn't surprised that Tyler won, but what I was surprised was there was no Hideo Itami, because these two, Tyler and Hideo, have been going at each other for the past couple of weeks, maybe more, ever since that attack backstage before the NXT big show, the big NXT show, which is, I believe, was Our Evolution or something, I don't know, but it was an NXT takeover the week before. Tyler, after a match, attacked Hideo Itami, starting this feud between them, and I was surprised that Hideo didn't come out to try and get a piece of Tyler. But that being said, Tyler got the win over Adam Rose. The NXT Tag Team Champions, Blake and Murphy, defend against Angelo Dawkins and Sawyer Fulton in a non-title match, or defeat rather. Did I say defend there? Defeat. While Blake and Murphy may have focused on getting inside the heads of Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy in recent weeks, tonight the NXT Tag Team Champions had to deal with a new pairing of Angelo Dawkins and Sawyer Fulton. The team of amateur wrestlers took the fight to the champions, but Blake and Murphy uncanny teamwork paid off in the end as they finished Dawkins off with a brainbuster by Murphy, followed up by a huge frog splash by Blake to get the victory. Now, it seems this build up to the tag team titles being on the line with Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy as the next champions. When will that be? I don't know. My guessing will be maybe at WrestleMania or maybe on the next NXT big show. I don't know. Maybe in the next coming weeks before WrestleMania. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But it seems that there's a big thing going down between a big tag team match in the pipelines between the two teams for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Baron Corbin, I hope I said that right. If I didn't, I apologise, versus Tony Briggs. Now, the Lone Wolf set out to continue along his destructive path, but Tony Briggs refused to fall down to him in mere seconds. The rookie evaded Corbin at first, but soon fell victim to End of Days. Now, I like the way he's going with this, Corbin. At some point, he's going to be NXT champion. At some point, when I don't know. But I just had this theory. He calls his move the End of Days. Maybe you can get the old End of Days thing from where remember that the car theme song, End of Days. Maybe you can use that. I'll be your End of Days. Boom. That would be amazing. But Baron Corbin is, it's the only way he's up. Now, during this match, Kevin Owens targeted Alex Riley again, stalked him during the match, and then after the match, proceeded to pick up a bottle of water, had a drink from it, and then proceeded to pour it all over Alex Riley. Bullying antics from the NXT champion, which forced Alex Riley to quit the announce table. He stormed back to William Regal's office, quit the announce table, and demanded a match with Kevin Owens. But Regal turned around and went, I will give you Kevin Owens when it's ready, when you're ready for him. At the moment, you're not ready. This was like him trying to convince Sami Zayn that he wasn't ready for a title match. Regal just give him the match already. But, like I say, Alex Riley's going to have to wait, because next week on NXT, he will go one-on-one with CJ. Is it CJ Parker? The same guy. Yep, CJ Parker. The same guy that Kevin Owens beat in a matter of seconds, or destroyed on his debut on the NXT main show. So that should be a dandy. I am hoping that this match will come. I don't know what the hell benefits this match for Kevin Owens, or this feud, if you can call it a feud, between these two. Because, let's face it, the last time, no disrespect to Alex Riley, but the last time Alex Riley was any relevant was when he was hanging around Miz. He hasn't done nothing since. So, maybe he could be an NXT champion at some point. I don't know. That's my wishful thinking, guys. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But with that being said, Solomon Crow versus Bull Dempsey. Now, I saw this match. I saw the show. This match didn't really do nothing, Crow, during this match, because the 300-pounder Bull Dempsey just beat the hell out of him. And then it took one mistake from Bull Dempsey for Crow to fought through Dempsey's onslaught, evading the top rope headbutt and connecting with a splash of his own to pick up the victory, and his first victory in NXT. It kind of made Bull Dempsey look bad for me. The guy's dominant. When have I seen this kind of stuff before? Oh yeah, we've seen it. He dominates him for the majority of the match, maybe all of it, and then he makes one mistake, and then Crow gets the win. And I'm not taking nothing away from Crow. He's a great wrestler, but don't make a character look bad, man, like that. The guy dominates it, and then shit like that happens. This is NXT. Okay, it's not Raw or SmackDown. And Crow ain't John Cena. Just saying. And the main event of the evening was the Divas, the Women's Championship match between Sasha Banks and Charlotte. Now, earlier on in the show, Charlotte said she was guaranteed to get her title back. Now, I have a small problem with this match. For me, just a small problem. I don't have a problem with the match in whole, because these two stole the damn show. Eager to reclaim the NXT Women's Championship, Charlotte was the aggressor in the early moments of the match, stunning Sasha with big forearm that had the boss ready to walk out on the match. Charlotte, however, refused to let the champion get away, bringing the fight to her at ringside. These two went back and forth with each other. This was a great match, and if Vince McMahon's listening to this, which I know he's not, but if Vince McMahon, and I hope Vince McMahon was watching NXT, because that's how you put on a Divas match, or women's match, fam. That's how that's how Divas matches and women's matches should be. That's why the women's championship in NXT means more than the Divas title on the main roster. That's why I'm scared to death when Charlotte eventually gets the call up to go to the main roster. What's she going to? She's going to a Divas division that is basically controlled by a reality show. Just saying. It makes me sick, because the women's title, if anybody's listening to this, which I'm sure you all are, and anyone who cares, if you want a good women's division in WWE, go to NXT, because these two stole the show. The two divas showed just how well they knew each other, as Charlotte was ready for a crossface pinning combination that Sasha won the title with a takeover rival, while Boss countered Charlotte's somersault senton. Charlotte looked to be on the verge of regaining the championship after fighting out of the bank statement and weakening Sasha's legs with the ring post figure 4 leg lock. However, Sasha continued or countered an attempt top rope natural selection, which was the old bow down to the queen, into a pin, putting her feet on the ropes. Now this is where I had the problem, okay? A great match between these two, and then you have to book it like that. I'm sorry, but that's not good. It's not good on Charlotte, and it doesn't make Sasha look any good as champion. If you want her to be a dominant female champion, I know she's a heel, but don't make her do stuff like that, man. I mean, she had to prove herself and everything, and now this is only just going to set up another match between the two somewhere down the road, okay? Because you know Charlotte's not going to stand for this, and people are going to start disrespecting Sasha now. It's telling her and saying to her that she's not a champion, she's a chump. You know, she's a lucky champion, a fluke champion, if you will, which doesn't look good on her and probably doesn't look good on the women's championship, but mainly doesn't look good on her because Sasha's good. So is Charlotte. Charlotte's the future of the women's division. Hell, quite frankly, so is Sasha Banks. You know, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't make her look good at all when you do stuff like that. You know, there's a time and a place to do something like that. In my opinion, that match wasn't it. Just saying. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the NXT main points and the NXT review. I will give that show a 4 out of 5 because, hey, it's NXT. And NXT is where wrestling matters in WWE. If you want a good show, or you're sick of Raw, you're sick of SmackDown, don't get me wrong, I like the main shows. I just don't like the way they've been booked. That's why NXT is where it's at, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out. And with that being said, I will be back after this with TNA's main points. So, stay tuned.
Clock makes a fool of history.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Wrestling Matters podcast, and as we all know now, it is now time for the TNA main talking points. Headline this week by Drew Galloway. Well, it was kicked off by Drew Galloway. Kenny King, MVP, come out to address Drew Galloway along with the other members of the BDC. They ask Galloway to consider what he has done and who he's done it to. MVP says his road to the World Championship was a year in the making and that Drew Galloway chose to involve himself in BDC business. MVP invites Galloway to explain himself, saying Galloway is public enemy number one. Galloway enters through the crowd. Galloway declares that he is at home. Surrounded by wrestling fans, he says he comes to TNA to speak up for those who have been ignored, to give the fans a voice. Galloway says guys like MVP are a problem with professional wrestling because they think they dictate who the champions should be. Galloway says he interfered because the fans should have a say that those with ability should be a champion. Kenny King cuts in saying the BDC will have retribution for Galloway spilling Loki's blood last week. He challenges Galloway. Galloway accepts, saying he came to TNA to fight. King says the BDC is a family, but he is a one-man army. The match was next. Before the bell rings, the BDC rushes back to distract Galloway. King catches him with an enziguri. MVP takes a cheap shot as King gains control of the match. The referee sends the BDC to the back. King whips Galloway into the corner, but he counters, plumbing King with a vicious clothesline. The momentum shifts as King is sent to the outside. Galloway drops King onto the barricade. King and Galloway trade blows. Then King taunts the fans. King charges Galloway, who counters, catching King with a tilt-the-world slam, spine first onto the ring apron. Galloway attempts to get the action back into the ring, but King hangs him up on the top rope. King connects with a top rope leg drop. With a leg drop on the apron, rather. Galloway fights out the chinlock and attempts a big boot. King counters with a high cradle suplex. King repeatedly slaps Galloway in the face. Galloway, enraged, he smashes King's face with a series of rights before throwing him into the turnbuckle. Galloway connects with a clothesline from the top rope. King flips over the rope, catches Galloway with a springboard neckbreaker. Blockbuster to you and I. King tries to steal one with a backslide pin with his feet on the ropes. Galloway powers out and connects with Future Shock DDT to secure the win. Winner is Drew Galloway. After the match, BDC rushes to ringside, but Galloway manages to escape. Bobby Roode declares that he'll be the number one contender for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Kurt Angle interrupts, saying he'll stand in Roode's way, that he'll become the number one contender. Angle vows to defeat Lashley for the title as he moves toward Roode. Eric Young jumps Roode from behind. Roode, Angle, and Young brawl. Young retreats as Roode and Angle come face to face ahead of their championship match. A video package highlights Tyrone Terrell reign as Knockouts champion and the return of Awesome Kong. Backstage, James Storm tries to recruit Bram to the Revolution. The main event of TNA. Roode and Young brawl outside while Angle awaits the opening bell. Angle rolls Young into the ring, then he and Angle work together, ultimately sending Young to the outside. Roode and Angle lock up. Angle drops Roode with a belly-to-belly suplex. Angle gets distracted by Eric Young, which allows Roode to connect with a diving neckbreaker. Eric Young takes the advantage after sending Angle shoulder first into the ring post. Angle takes control of the match as Angle clutches his shoulder outside. Roode starts to rally, but Young stops his comeback with a neckbreaker. Young climbs between the ropes and stomps on the back of Angle's head. Young continues his assault on Roode. He places Roode onto the top turnbuckle and attempts a superplex. Angle rushes to the corner. He powerbombs Eric Young. Young grasps on Roode, never broke, so at the same time Roode is suplexed. Angle delivers 10 German suplexes to Eric Young. Roode catches a regrouping Angle with a crossface. Angle grabs Roode's ankle forcing the hold to break. Angle locks in the ankle lock. Rude breaks the hold and counters with his own, but Eric Young makes a save. Young tries a power driver, but Rude counters and Angle immediately catches Young with the Angle slam. Kurt Angle slaps on the ankle lock. Eric Young makes it to the bottom rope, but Angle puts Rude in a ankle lock. Rude rolls through, sending Angle into the official. Rude tries to drag Eric Young back into the ring, but Eric Young grabs a chair and smashes Rude in the head with it. Angle capitalizes, sending Young flying off the apron before catching Rude with an Angle slam to win the match. Angle is the number 1 contender for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Tyreen Terrell also won her match with Awesome Kong by disqualification. Magnus' feud with Bram heats up, saying that one way or another he's going to make Bram pay for what he's done. And we have new TNA World Tag Team Champions in the American Wolves. Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, they beat the Revolution to claim their 3rd TNA World Tag Team Championships. So, with that being said, that is the end of TNA's main talking points. I will be back after this with a thank you as well as ICW's review of their 3rd episode of the Friday Night Fight Club. So stay tuned.
The king
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters podcast, and it is now time for ICW. That's right, the third installment of the Friday Night Fight Club, episode 3 this past week. But before I get to that, I just want to send out a message. A quick thank you, if you will. Now, this past week, 48th episode, I promoted the episode as the best I can, and I promoted it on my Facebook fan page, the Wrestling Matters Facebook page. And time went on, I pinned it on the page and everything, and promoted it to the best that I could and everything. And it was the Karma's a Bitch, Wrestling Matters on this podcast, and Say Yes Madonna. I promoted it to the best I could, and then a couple of days into it, I looked on it. It was getting promoted. I had a few people helping me out with the promotions as well, and I looked onto the video that I promoted from YouTube regarding the 40th episode of the podcast, and I looked onto it, and Mark Dallas had liked it. He liked the video. He liked, when it says like, comment, and share. Well, he pressed the like button. Oh, he hit the like key on it. So, I mean, I don't know. It sounds ridiculous, I know. It probably sounds ridiculous to you people, but that to me is an accomplishment. That Mark Dallas took the time to like it. Whether he listened to it or not, I don't know. Probably did, since there was some stuff on there about ICW. So with that being said, thank you, Mark Dallas. And the fact that Mark Dallas knows that there's a Wrestling Matters podcast out there hosted by yours truly is, sorry, but fucking epic to me. It really is. Absolutely epic. And that's probably my biggest accomplishment, that the owner of ICW, the boss of ICW, who's now probably at this point in time, well, as we speak at least, looking for a TV deal for ICW, because he said it. If you don't believe me, he said it. Go back and watch Square Go. That's why you should get ICW on demand. Get Square Go. Find Square Go. Watch that. Get it on ICW on demand. If you haven't got ICW on demand, then you're seriously missing out. Get it. And he mentioned on there that he was sick of waiting for a TV deal for ICW, that he was going to take one. That's why GM Red Lightning is in charge. So, with that being said, thank you very much, Mark Dallas, for at least taking the time out of your busy schedule to like the video and everything and checking that out. And I appreciate it very, very much indeed. If you want to come on the show, do an interview, I would be more than happy to have you on. But then again, that's up to you, and at this point in time, I know you're a busy man. I did watch Square Go. But with that being said, it is now time for the third installment and my review of the third installment of the Friday Night Fight Club. Friday Night Fight Club episode kicks off with this week with a video package with the beef between the ICW GM, Red Lightning, and Joe Coffey. Yes, there's some history between the two, going back to the previous 2 episodes as well, and well before that. Nikki Storm is backstage on her phone, and her stooge, Sami Zayn, comes in carrying her bags. Again, stooge. Lewis Garvin goes one-on-one with Wolfgang. Now, to start this match, Lewis Garvin, a great match to start off. Kind of, how can I put this? Dangerous as well. I'll get to that bit in a minute. But Garvin tries to match power with Wolfgang. Big mistake. Then gets in his face and basically slaps the piss out of Wolfgang, which only pisses Wolfgang off and begins to put a beat down on Garvin. Then goes on the top rope. Garvin kicks him and stalls him on the top rope, and then proceeds to deliver a superplex from the top rope, which gets a near fall. Garvin slows Wolfgang down. Wolfgang gets up, hits Garvin with a few elbows. He had him in the headlock kind of move, and then hits him with a few elbows to break free. Goes to bounce off the ropes, and the rope snaps, kind of thing. The turnbuckles come loose, and Wolfgang goes flying out over the top rope. You heard me correct. Goes right over the top rope on the outside. Thankfully, he was okay. Commercial break, a little quick break, and then comes back, and then Wolfgang gets back into control of the match. Garvin came to fight versus Wolfgang. He was looking for the win. The commentators mentioned that during the match. I mean, he just wouldn't go down without a fight, and it proved to be an asset to him, because Wolfgang goes to the top rope, goes for the senton, misses, and then Garvin rolls up, puts his feet on the ropes, and gets the victory over Wolfgang. And a surprising victory as well. But I know Wolfgang's not going to take that lying down at some point. Viper, there's a segment comes on where Viper comes on and answers and finally responds to DCT's phone calls and messages that he has been leaving her, and agrees to go on the date again with her. Apparently she avoided the first date, at least to the best she could, and then agrees to go on the second date with him, and agrees to go on the second date with DCT because DCT was paying. Typical, isn't it? Typical. If I was going on a date with somebody, she wouldn't have to worry, or she wouldn't have to ask me about paying, because I would pay. I'd pay for the whole fucking thing. But anyway, enough of me. Davey Boy and Dickie Davis was the next match, and the fists fly in this match. At the beginning, it was just like a fist fight at first, and then they tried to bring it down to a wrestling match. Then Dickie sees the chance to pull down Davey Boy's pants, then hits him with a bulldog and an enziguri, which leaves Davey Boy on the outside. And then in the match as well, given the opportunity, Davey Boy hits Dickie with an elbow after Dickie tried to do like a dive through the ropes onto him, but as he did, Davey Boy catches him with an elbow strike. Davey Boy hits a beautiful spear to get a near fall, and then Davey Boy goes up on the top rope. This match didn't last long, by the way. He goes up on the top rope, goes to jump off, basically lands right in to Dickie. I think Dickie kicks him between the legs, and then kicks him in the back of the head, which knocked Davey Boy out. Dickie Davis, that is, kicks him in the back of the head, which knocked Davey Boy out, and gets the victory. So, hey, a win's a win in wrestling. A win's a win. Lewis Gavin, that is backstage gloating over his win over Wolfgang, and says, "We demand Lewis Gavin." I beg to differ on that one. Wee-Man is backstage with Courtney hitting on her until David Conrad comes in and attacks. And basically attacks him and puts an end to it. Meanwhile, going back up a bit, I missed a bit out. After the Viper match, the GM, Red Lightning, was backstage abusing his power, in a way, sending Veronica, the backstage interviewee, to go and get him a coffee or anything. Whatever. And he was talking to the camera until David Conrad and Saqib Ali came in looking for a break, an opportunity. And Mr. GM granted them that wish. Now, which leads me to this segment here, going back to where I was. Joe Coffey comes to the ring to call out the GM, because apparently last week GM was he sat at home, watched ICW on demand, and saw the GM run his mouth about him and demanded answers. GM comes out to face with Coffey. They have a history lesson, and then David Conrad and Ali jump Coffey from behind to do GM's dirty work, and then books Joe Coffey, GM that is, versus Mikey Whiplash for later for the number one contendership. That is after Joe takes out the Two Stooges. Basically just destroys them, manhandles them back, and then gets found out that he has to put his number one contendership on the line for the ICW World Heavyweight Championship against Drew Galloway at the Powerlands against Mikey Whiplash. More on that later. Viper versus Sami Zayn. Now, Viper attacks from the get-go. Nikki slows her down, and then Sami hits a neckbreaker as Viper enters the ring. Then Nikki gets her shot in. I still can't understand why TNA didn't take advantage of Nikki Storm, to be honest with you. It's still, you know, she was great on that show, Boot Camp, and then, you know, it hurts my brain when there's so much talent in this world and it gets snubbed like that. I mean, she deserved a break at least on that show. But TNA, like I said, TNA's loss is ICW's gain. Sami is getting near fall after near fall, hitting neck breakers and whatever else move she can get, and maybe getting a little help from Nikki. But Viper was just pissed off about it and hits a face-first powerbomb to get a victory. Viper just proved that she was too powerful for her, and it was back to the drawing board for Sami and Nikki. And all of that led to the main event of ICW, which was Joe Coffey versus Mikey Whiplash. Now, a back and forth match, great main event for the time they had anyway. Great main event, back and forth match, hard hitting, just the way you want as a main event to be. Chain wrestling to start the match off, back and forth stuff that ended with Joe using his power to get an advantage over Whiplash. He was the power. If you want to talk about power, between the two, I would definitely say that Joe had that advantage. Whiplash gets an advantage, but ends up in a back and forth fight with Coffey. Again, back and forth match. Coffey hits a suplex from a dead position from the top rope on Whiplash. Didn't even need to climb up to the top rope, or to the second rope even, to do the suplex. He just did it from the bottom, grabbed him in, boom, got the suplex. Beautiful. A great slap fight between the two. Yeah, they traded slaps. It was just hard-hitting, physical, hard-hitting match. Whiplash has the advantage, hits a brainbuster, goes for the cover, and then once again this video plays, distracting Whiplash, which cost him the match, because Coffey hits two Hulk busters, a giant swing, and then a German suplex, still couldn't beat Whiplash, and then after all that, hits a discus clothesline and eventually gets the win. Coffey and Tommy End end up arguing, and I believe, from what I got, Tommy End ended up accusing Coffey of being behind the videos and everything. That's what I got, but obviously that was not true. And after all of that, Whiplash is backstage with Veronica, basically scares Veronica away, and challenges whoever's behind all this to come forward and face him face to face. Be a person about it. I say be a man, but it might be a female, it might be a man, I don't know. But whoever's doing this, he challenges them to come face to face with him, show their face. But with that being said, that is the end of the that's the end of all that. That's the notes I got from the show, and I will give again 4.5 out of 10 because it was a really good show. And like I've always said, ICW is where wrestling matters. It is really, really good. And I can't stress this enough, guys. I could say this until I'm blue in the face. If you haven't got ICW on demand, £3.75, 85, whatever, a month, you're missing out, man. You really are missing out. And it is worth the price itself. I mean, there's, big events like Baromania, Fear and Loathing shows, Shug's House Party, where Drew Galloway first returned to ICW. There's some interviews as well. There's some interviews building up Jackie Polo and Lionheart for Baromania March 29th. If you haven't got it, you really seriously are missing out. And you can see people like Colt Cabana, Sabu, who will be returning to ICW as well, Rhino, Brian Kendrick, and Paul London, and you can see them winning the tag team titles. If you haven't got it, you're missing out. That's all I'm saying, man. You need to seriously get it. And I know I'm probably going to get some stick for this, but I don't care. ICW's the fucking shit. If you haven't got it, you're missing out. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the ICW review, and after this, I will be back with the views and opinions of the world of professional wrestling. So stay tuned. We ain't done yet. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast Facebook fan page at www.facebook.com/WM podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back, everybody, to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've enjoyed the 49th episode. I've got a few things I want to discuss before I leave you. Apparently, we all know that Samoa Joe left TNA and went back to Ring of Honor, but apparently, according to Samoa Joe, he was asked on Chris Jericho's Talk is Jericho podcast if Joe has any intentions on joining WWE. Joe mentioned that he wanted the fans to know that there have been some discussions and there's some negotiations going on. Jericho noted that Joe's name came up while he was speaking to Triple H a few years ago. Triple H told Jericho that he was a fan of Samoa Joe and his wrestling style. So we will see, well, that's not easy to say, Samoa Joe in WWE. Question is, not only that, we will see him in NXT, because that's what he ought to be. Because the direction WWE is going on the main programs, I think he'll get killed. He might want to get himself into NXT first before he decides to go to the big two. Because I would love to see him work with the talent they've got on that roster. But that's just me. Now, speaking of NXT, I read this past week, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, if I'm sniffling a lot, I've got a little bit of a cold. I don't know how it's come about, but that's why I'm sniffling a lot. My nose is a little blocked, so I apologise for that in advance. If I'm doing it, and you can hear it during me talk. Apparently, this past week, NXT had a live show, and they invited Big Show. They had Big Show and Ryback on the show, and apparently the reason why they had them on was to draw people. Now, I have a bit of an issue with this. One, there was a lot of hatred towards them two because nobody wanted to see them, and apparently there was one chant going on, from what I read, to Big Show asking him to consider early retirement. WWE, what the hell are you thinking? I'm sick of talking about stuff like this on this podcast, but I feel I have to. You're bringing in Big Show and Ryback just to draw people into to buy tickets for the show. You don't need them, okay? The talent on your roster should be drawable enough to make people want to buy tickets for the show. You don't have to bring in people like Ryback and Big Show and Kane and whoever else you were planning on bringing in. You don't need them. The talent on the roster should be drawable enough for people, or for wanting to make people buy tickets to see an NXT show, whether it's a live show or the shows in Orlando. You don't need people from the main roster just to draw people in to NXT. You've got the talent on the roster. Sami Zayn, Baron Corbin, you've got Kevin Owens, for Pete's sake, the Lucha Dragons, the tag team champions, Blake and Murphy, Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Becky Lynch, you've got all these people. There should be and the list goes on and on. They should be drawable enough for people wanting people to buy tickets to go and see a show, an NXT show. You don't need wrestlers from the main roster. Bloomin' heck. The controversial matter this past week was Bill DeMott quitting WWE due to allegations made to him. Apparently an indie wrestler saw Bill DeMott bully talent. And I'm not going to mention the name, but she's a female wrestler from America. Claims that the wrestler who debuted with Vegas Championship Wrestling had made claims against Bill DeMott on her Twitter. As someone who has been bullied my entire childhood, and even more so now as an adult, I stand behind those who do something about it. Everybody has their opinions and what's going on with Bill DeMott and everything, but I'll leave that up to you to decide. But I will say this: Bill's probably finding out that this is no laughing matter. No pun intended. PURO Wear, guys, make sure you check them out. I'll give you the site. I'll leave the site in the description on YouTube. Make sure you check them out, and Podomatic and Mixcloud. Like I said, give them a check out. Check out their website, and hopefully you enjoy and buy the gear as well. And that's about it this week for the Wrestling Matters podcast. Tune in next week, ladies and gents, because it will be the 50th episode. And, knock on wood, hopefully, all being well, the people haven't got back to me yet, I'll have something very special planned for next week. All being well. Something that's never been done, at least from what I've seen and to my knowledge. So next week is the 50th episode. Will it be historic? I suppose you'll have to tune in to find out, won't you? But until then, my name is DHDE to the A to the D, Anthony Walker, at your service, as I always am each and every Monday on Podomatic, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, Mixcloud, and wherever else I can get this podcast on, and also YouTube, AJW Wrestling Matters. Support the Wrestling Matters podcast at WM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook.com/WM Podcast, and until next time, peace out.